splendid thing. The newfound love is a magical discovery. Singaporeans' budding romance with the Keretapi Tanah Melayu or KTM rail corridor began weeks before the railway line was closed on 30th June 2011. Coming from all walks of life, they thronged the 26-kilometre stretch from Tanjung Pagar to Woodlands, many for the first time in their lives. And they were mesmerised by the kaleidoscopic patchwork of landscapes, touched magically and purely by nature and time.
It's quite a wonderful feeling to actually rediscover parts of Singapore that we never knew existed. People who have never been there, suddenly they go there and then they feel nostalgic. It feels as if they have been transported to somewhere else, somewhere which is no longer visible in Singapore. And I think that is kind of like the magical quality that I was talking about.
But as they say, the course of true love never runs smooth. About 2 weeks after Malaysia handed over the KTM railway land to Singapore under an agreement made in 2010, removal works began. KTM will take back the tracks and ancillary structures by end 2011. Such haste made many Singaporeans feel jittery about their loss. Among them are Irvin Lin and his schoolmates, who have spent weeks documenting the KTM line for their master's project.
Just Wi-Fi?
They're hoping that the 174-hectare railway land, more than 200 times the size of a football field, could be preserved. Losing it could mean the vanishing of 100 species of birds and 50 types of butterflies, among many others.
I think the beauty of it is that it is a whole line. I mean, to halve it, to cut it into pieces, that will kill part of the magic.
Irvin's sentiments echo those of Leong Kwok Peng from the Nature Society. Kwok Peng was the first Singaporean to propose keeping the railway land as a continuous green corridor.
I think if it's kept as a green corridor, continuous, I think it would benefit a lot of Singaporeans. More than you say, parcel it out and develop, it only benefit maybe a small group of people. But potentially this could be a real gift to Singaporeans actually.
Wanting to realise this dream, Kwok Peng wrote a proposal to the government in October 2010. The 28-page document contains vivid details of the myriad landscapes along the rail line. The great length of the corridor with rich biodiversity is both a haven to nature lovers and creatures like birds and butterflies. With more than 1 million people living in the surrounding estates, the green corridor could also potentially become a recreational space for community farming. As interest in the green corridor went viral online, the government began to engage Singaporeans more actively. 9 days after the KTM line was closed, the Minister of State for National Development and Manpower, Tan Chuan Jin, invited the Nature Society and other interest groups to walk the entire railway line with him. The 9-hour trek, which began at 6 a.m., was an eye-opener for the Minister.
It's a glimpse of the things which appealed to people, that made it meaningful to them. And I think it's important for us to take this on board, because this, in many ways, provides the entire fabric of how Singaporeans feel about this land. And I think that would play a very big part in terms of shaping the way we go forward.
The Minister later held meetings with diverse interest groups to gather feedback. This design workshop and exhibition is the first concerted effort to encourage and engage the public. Organised by the Nature Society and Friends of the Green Corridor, this event also gives Kwok Peng hope for better things to come.
It was just a wild idea suggesting that the railway line could be turned into a nature corridor. So the initial feeling was like I play the guitar. I feel like a busker just, playing a solo guitar. But soon after that, there were more guitarists coming in. After a while, a band was formed, playing various instruments. And right now, it's like a full orchestra, choirs and all, and everybody singing the same tune. To a certain extent, it was a surprise that he has caught so many of the public attention.
Some are trying to sing a better tune just to get the authorities' attention. Irvin and his landscape architecture classmates have spent 2 months working on their dream plan to convert the corridor into a linear national park. The park will attract both locals and tourists. It will also offer pedestrians and cyclists a trail as an alternative transport route. The team was so meticulous that even their project's name is more than meets the eye.
There's so much more than just green. You go past HDB estates, you go past millionaires' houses, you go past the old colonial houses. So we decided to then break it down into 3 simple words. The, meaning its importance over all other trails in Singapore. Singapore being its national scale, its national symbolism. And trail, which is kind of like a play of the word rail, in that it is now, instead of a rail, place for people to walk.
Bicycle rental stalls, a club.
One architecture student impressed the entire nation even before knowing whether her idea will be adopted.
It's creative, it's imaginative, and I hope we get many more bright ideas like this, and then we will have a range, a menu to choose from.
Regina Koo had proposed a centre combining biking activities with an eco-friendly factory that makes carbon fibre bicycles. This concept is inspired by the High Line Park in New York City, a novel elevated park converted from an abandoned railway. While it's too early to tell if Regina's Velo Park, Velo meaning bike in French, will be considered, she remains wishful.
If possible, I really hope for it to be implemented full scale. I think the greatest satisfaction that can come for any architect is to see, his paper concepts being realized, and also, and his spaces being enjoyed by the people for whom he has created it for.
As the rally for the preservation of the rail corridor heats up, many more ideas from students, architects, designers, and members of the public keep flowing in. But a heartening response makes the engagement process challenging as well.
We have just started, but sometimes people do expect instant answers. And it will take time, and I think we need time for people to share their views, let the ideas evolve, managing expectations also in terms of their different needs. You have the cyclists, you have the joggers, you have the nature enthusiasts. So how do you try to balance all the different needs?
The fate of the railway land will be unveiled in the 2013 Master Plan of the Urban Redevelopment Authority, something many Singaporeans are now anticipating with bated breath.
It'll be interesting. I'm also quite curious what the Master Plan would look like. But what I do sense is that I think we would have a fairly contiguous line still, where Singaporeans could traverse from north to south. And my own sense is that it's green not only just purely from the physical environment, but even the way we construct the buildings. We are moving in a very big way into greening Singapore for our high-rise buildings and so on. I think those considerations can be woven in.
As the future of the rail corridor hangs in the balance, many nature lovers continue to keep up the hype through social media. But there are some who prefer to take a more philosophical outlook and enjoy their last vestige of the past one day at a time.